What's up, guys? Welcome back. I'm here with my man, Mariano Gomez. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, John? How you doing today, man?
I'm doing
Just
excellent.
pleased to be with you. Thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
Hey, it's my pleasure, man. Look at us. We're both coming to the people from tropical destinations, it seems.
Oh yes.
How's the sun there for you?
Well, it's good 96 degrees out here. You know, as you can see, the beautiful ocean, just sucking it all in.
And I am dreaming of the Nepali coast in Hawaii, where I was last
Looks pretty good, man. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, so I have Mariano back with us today. Mariano delivered us an introduction to UI flows, which has been one of the hottest videos on my channel. It has blown up. People love it. And so I asked Mariano back to show us an introduction to another brand new technology. And so, Mariano, what are you going to share with us today?
Well, today I have a couple things to show you. First and foremost, I want to talk about mixed reality. That's the new topic. That's what's hot right now with power apps, and but I want to actually give it a little bit of a different touch because most people get right into it. I want to make sure everybody has a background in mixed reality. You know, see how at least you can articulate a file, put it together, publish it, and then really address it from the standpoint of power apps and go from there. You know, explain a little bit what 3D models are, how they play into this whole mixed reality technology, and we just go from there.
Okay, cool. So couple firsts, like number one, doing power apps on my channel. I love this.
I know, right?
Fantastic.
That's
I love this.
Out of your realm of expertise, I guess. No, not really. You're a good guy.
It's absolutely out of my expertise, yes. But I'm hoping to learn. I'm now the platform evangelist rather than the automate evangelist. Yes. So got to start learning this stuff. So I appreciate this intro as much as everyone else. So I'm going to go ahead and just give you the floor. Let's go ahead and jump in, man. Share your screen and we can continue the conversation.
Okay. First things, I am going to talk a little bit about mixed reality before we jump into anything. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up my File Explorer. You know, nice topic to start with, File Explorer.
Yep.
So
there. Okay, there it is. Perfect.
Yep, perfect. And I'm going to go to my documents folder. Look how organized I am, man. I'm going to go to Power Platform and look at Star Trek. You like Star Trek, John?
I like Star Trek. I've been thinking about buying a Star Trek game, actually.
Yeah, that's cool. I know you've been streaming a lot of videos lately or games lately, so Star Trek should be one of those that you should look into.
Okay.
And plays right into the topic for today, by the way.
I like it.
But here I have the Star Trek series, right? And one of the things that I like about Star Trek is the actual ships, the Starfleet.
Yeah.
So, you know, everybody will immediately talk about Enterprise.
Of course.
But one of my favorite ones is actually Akira, and hopefully Akira will load into this viewer. There we go.
Oh, nice.
So, you know, kind of what we're going to present today has something to do with what I'm showing here. But the good thing about this viewer is it does allow me to zoom into this particular ship. It allows me to see the different aspects of it. Look how crazy this is.
Nice.
Go into full detail.
Love it.
This is actually a GLB file. And GLB file is nothing more than a compiled file. It's a single player file that allows me to see the different aspects of that particular model. And what you saw there is actually called a 3D object. In fact, the file system recognizes it as a 3D object.
Okay.
So as you can see here, Akira is made up of tons of pictures. And these are the different assets that you actually put together in order to build that particular 3D model.
Wow.
So you can see different concepts here. You have you know, different elements of this particular model.
Yeah, it's like different textures.
Yeah, different textures,
colors,
different elements that you assemble.
Elements. Yeah. Wow.
Now, I am not a 3D model expert by any stretch of the imagination, and I don't think this is what this video is about. But
no.
you actually click on this GLTF file here. What that will do is it will actually look at this model. It will take all those individual components that you saw there, all those individual assets, which are nothing more than a whole bunch of JPEG pictures, and assemble them into that model based on how that GLTF is defined, right?
Wow.
That's the actual, think of it as the engine that has the different components, those different assets that get assembled into this one model file.
Yeah.
Now,
So
obviously, that's a lot for any particular, you know, rendering engine to display all at once. As you can see, it's taking time here, and perhaps we don't want to invest all the time in talking about this or showing this, but it takes time to assemble all these
yeah,
different assets into one 3D model.
I think if
So,
people want to learn about building 3D models, there's definitely a ton of information they could go and search on that. Maybe we'll go ahead and skip past that and assume you're going to download a 3D model
correct, you're
to
gonna
use.
download a 3D model.
Yeah.
So the thing now is obviously from a GLTF perspective, you have, if you just go into Bing and type GLTF to GLB converter, you can find any number of packagers online.
Okay.
Well, all you gotta do is basically drag these particular files that we showed this now, and I'll show you how slick this is, because all you really gotta do is take all these assets right here and just bring them over to your browser and just drop them here. And these guys basically take and assemble all those models in one shot and produce a GLB file.
Whoa.
And that's exactly what we need in order to work with Power Apps and mixed reality.
Okay.
So that's one aspect of what I wanted to talk about.
Okay. So
Now,
that's good
yep,
to know. If you're going to do mixed reality, you need GLB format. And
that's absolutely required.
this is pretty nice, though. This is a good little tip for them too, and that looked like a free tool and a very
Mhm.
effective one. That's
So they have any number of free tools online that you can use to assemble any texture, actually, an OBJ file, object file, or a CAD file, even a 3D CAD file, or a GLTF like you saw here into GLB packages.
perfect. Okay, cool.
Okay. Now, point two that I wanted to make. Back in January, Microsoft actually released the mixed reality components for Power Apps as a private preview. So you had to go through the insider program and really sign up for it, fill out a Microsoft Forms form that would then, submit all that information to download the components. And kind of this is what you ended up with after you signed up to that program. So if I go back here into mixed reality, you will see that I had a I'm sorry, wrong folder.
Think in your
It's gonna
documents.
take just a second here. So if I go here into my Power Platform folder and I go to mixed reality preview, these are all the preview files that were available with that preview. So you would download these and upload them into your environment. But in order to upload these into your environment, you had a couple things that you needed to do. The first thing is you needed to go to your environment settings. And actually, let me go over here and go to settings for your environment. So that would be in the admin center. And here in admin center, you basically needed to enable for that specific environment. So this is my environment here. You needed to enable PCF components. So the way you do that is you would go to settings and furthermore choose uh, products and select features, and then enable this one option here under the environments. So once you enable PCF components, you would be able to then import those mixed reality components, because that would be showing up as custom code or as component codes, code components that show up in your application. So if you think about it a little bit, here in the list of options, you would have components, and in components, you would select import components. and you would import code components as they were available to you from different files. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm not gonna do that because that's not required anymore. But that's kind of a little bit of the background on how that came about.
Okay.
But now with wave one, which is where we are now, uh, came the mixed reality components embedded in Power Apps directly.
Nice.
So now you don't have to actually sign up to any preview program. All you gotta do is, in essence, enable these into your application and make sure it's all enabled. So if I click here on the plus sign, note that I don't have mixed reality right now.
Yep.
Okay. So if I go to File and I go to Settings and I go to Advanced Settings and I scroll down to the experimental features, at the very end I would find the mixed reality features.
Nice.
So now mixed reality, that leads you to think that mixed reality is enabled on a per application basis. Okay, it's not something that is available by default to the entire platform. Now, if I come back here, I have mixed reality enabled as part of my list of features.
Interesting. So you have to
Okay,
do this per app.
it's on a per app basis.
Okay.
But then
Good to know.
again, if you think about the old method where you had to import or enable PCF components and import those component files versus simply having to go and enable an experimental feature, I much
Totally.
prefer this method than what was available before. And again, what was available before is a very first preview
Yeah.
and very workable preview. And I'm sure at the end of this session, you'll talk a little bit about what we did more in our through our hackathon experience. But you know, that's something that we used during that hackathon. But now,
Yep.
if we had this at the time, it would have been actually very nice.
Would have been awesome.
But let's start with something basic.
Okay.
The first thing I want to show is the 3D viewer and how easy and responsive this 3D viewer is in the new mixed reality environment that is directly embedded in Power Apps. Okay.
Okay.
So if you go to media, one of the new elements in media is actually a 3D viewer.
Nice.
That's actually pretty cool because, and by the way, if you use the plus sign, you can find it here as well on the media. It's the same. It's the same element. This is just a little faster because I had I was already positioned on the toolbar. But if you click on View in 3D Preview, that will add the actual 3D preview um, uh, control to this particular application. And I'm just gonna go ahead and make it this big. Now, couple things. This only works on Android and iOS at the moment. So if you try to display this on, actually, the mixed reality components are designed to work on Android and iOS. The only one that I can preview right now is this particular one. But look how crazy this is. I already have a predefined 3D sample model that I can play with from this control.
Nice.
Okay, so let's take a look at how things can evolve from here. Well, the first thing I have really is and actually I stuck my mouse back here, but the first thing I have is I need to actually tell this control what is the source of data, right? So if you see here, this is actually pointing to the sample 3D object. Just kind of like when you insert an image, it points to a sample default image.
Mm-hmm.
This points to a sample 3D object that is embedded inside the platform. Now, I have added, first and foremost, this 3D model text box control. And if I go up to my list of controls that are part of this screen, I have, first of all, I have my view in 3D, which is this control.
Yep.
And I have my model URL, which is my text control that I put here, my text input control.
Okay.
Well, because I'm a pro developer at heart, the one thing I like to do is rename my control. So I'm just going to call this 3D viewer, right?
Yep.
You can call it viewport, 3D viewer, whatever is more comfortable to you. But the one thing I'm going to do is remember that Endeavor GLB file that I had before.
Yep.
Well, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually go back. I saved it first and foremost in GitHub, and I'm gonna actually point this thing to my model URL first. So I'm just gonna go here and say the source now is gonna be model URL dot text, right? And that then, if I play this, it's gonna go ahead and ask me for my 3D model URL, and I'm just gonna paste it out here from GitHub. And look how cool this is. So now this is my endeavor ship, and I can pinch with my mouse. I can pinch all this stuff, any part of the screen, any part of this view, and rotate it if I want. And I can actually flip it over if I want, zoom into it, and look at this crazy stuff, John.
Wow.
If you want to see the ship badge, check this out.
So cool.
Yeah, it is very cool.
And I love
And
how it just
let me
picks it up
let
off
me
a
yeah,
URL.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I love how it picks it up off a URL and it's so fast. Like that's
But
amazing.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Look how responsive this control is. I mean, it's
Yeah.
super crazy. It just picked it up in a heartbeat. I didn't have to wait for any rendering. I mean, it just works, and it works much faster than the PCF controls that were available in the private preview.
Well, and it's like the crazy part to me is you tried to open this file on your PC and we watched it, right? It
Yep,
took like 30 seconds before we decided, let's not bother. You plug this URL into Power Apps and that thing was open in like 3 seconds.
yep. All I have is this text
Man,
control, and I pointed to the I point the source to read from whatever I type in here, and boom, it was done. I
I love
mean,
that.
no thinking about it, nothing. It's just super responsive.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one part that I wanted to show you. There are some actions associated and properties associated to this, but you can actually make other. I'm sorry, this is the control. You can actually add code for when this control changes. You can do other things with it. So some of the properties are, exploratory, and keep in mind that this is still in preview. So chances are this control is going to evolve and include even much more features than it currently has.
Totally.
But this is totally insane the way this control is responsive right now.
Well, and like I
And
love it. 2 steps, and you just help someone build like a 3D model viewer app.
but dude, I mean, think of it. How much code did I write?
Nothing,
None.
nothing. Just
Actually,
clicked a
all I
couple
did was
things.
I put a text control on the window or the screen. I put the actual 3D model, 3D viewer control, pointed to the source, and all I wrote was model URL.text. That's all I wrote,
That's
and I
awesome.
have a fully fledged functional application.
Yep.
Okay,
That's legit.
so kudos to the team. Definitely something that I really appreciate from this work that they did. So now I'm gonna go to mixed reality, the menu, and actually select this view in MR option. Okay, so I'm gonna place the button down here. And as you can see, one of the things I can do is just, format this nicely. And really, you can change the text of this control. So if you go to more options here, and you can see here, you can change this text to whatever you want.
Nice.
So that's one property. The other thing is you can define the units of measure. That's something
Mm,
else you can define from your viewfinder. And you can define the width, height, and depth of that object. So
nice.
those are actually properties that allows the engine, the mixed reality engine, to process the depth of that object in the space that it's going to interact with, in the physical space that it's going to interact with.
So those are the characteristics of that item.
That is correct.
So
That is correct.
what could be really cool is you could set that thing to like 9,000 meters in width and 1,000 meters in height and go outside and look at the sky and put that ship actually in the sky.
Yeah, so technically speaking, you could do something like that.
That's
Yeah.
legit. Okay. Just
Yeah.
checking.
Now, the next thing you notice here is I also have a source. I have to specify the source of the 3D object that I'm going to place in that particular space. So again, all I'm going to do here is I'm going to type model URL dot text, and once again, believe it or not, that's all the coding that I had to do, right? So let's see how this works.
Okay.
I'm just gonna go to File and Save. And the reason I have to do this is because remember that these controls only, in particular, the mixed reality controls only work on iOS or Android devices.
Yep.
I'm gonna hit publish here and publish this particular version of the app. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to my phone, and I want you to see this for a second. So I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna scroll down. I'm actually using my desktop to drive my phone, which is pretty crazy.
That's
But
nice.
I'm gonna refresh here and load the list of applications. And as you can see here, I have my mixed reality application.
Nice.
So I'm just gonna click this, and it tells me that there's a newer version of the app. That's understandable because I just published it. So now it's asking me for that URL. But look at this. I can just go ahead and paste directly out of my desktop to my phone using this glorious your phone in Windows. And then
Yep.
I can now drive this from here and say view in MR. And look at this. So I'm going to actually go and switch to my actual phone,
Okay.
where now I'm seeing the space that's around me. And I'm going to go a little bit away from what you're seeing here, but I'm going to try to stabilize this as much as we can so we don't get too much jitter. But if I tap here, look what happens. Now I
Oh.
am in the space of my room, showing this particular Star Trek
Yeah.
Endeavor ship, and I can move it around even to where I want. And
So
once I'm done,
this is so cool. I did something recently like this. I was gonna buy a monitor, a new computer monitor, and it let me put it in my space to see how big it would
yep,
be. And I thought that was like cutting edge, but look at this. You can make the same thing in Power Apps.
you can make the same thing in Power Apps. So now that I'm happy with this, let's say I want to position it here, or better yet, let's say I want to move it to my trophy space, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
all those nice MVP boxes up there. That's just a side note. But you can actually move it anywhere inside the space, and when you're happy with it, you can just click to take it to fixate it there. But again, I'm gonna try and avoid as much as I can the jitter. But look what I can do now, John. I can just circle this particular object in that space. And
Very
as you
cool.
said before, with your TV or monitor, you can see how it's gonna work within that space.
So
So
cool.
imagine this in a business setting. I know we're doing this with the enterprise and the Endeavor ship, but think about it. If you had to plan how you're gonna set a particular object inside a showroom, or you're gonna look at um, probably outfitting a store or something like that,
Yeah.
these are things that you can leverage from Power Apps and into your business right now today.
It's awesome,
And I
man.
know there's some case studies on the Power Apps website YouTube channel, and I'm sure that you will want to take a look at those as well and see how companies like bottlers, or beverage bottlers are doing with this type of technology today.
And IKEA.
IKEA, yes, right at
Yeah.
Embas. You just
Yeah.
showed off their stuff. So
Totally.
yeah, definitely something to look into, and
Awesome.
um, and
Awesome.
and something that can definitely help businesses that have that type of challenge today.
So cool. And so simple. I love how
Very simple,
quick it was to put together, man.
very simple, and again, literally 2 lines of, if you want to call that code.
Yeah.
All I had to do was reference this particular control in my app.
In that
That
instance, I'm gonna say that was not code.
That was not code.
No.
No, it wasn't.
No.
I don't consider that code either.
No.
All right. So a couple things that you can do with this control. You can capture, um, for example, as a result, when this changes, you can capture a collection, right? So you can collect. One of the things that you can do is you can collect the photos that that are resulting from it. So if I want to call this 3D photos, and I can, that would be my collection. Let's just do something like this. The photos. I hate using numbers for variables, but I can also add the result from that, which is my view in MR control. And again, this is the reason I like renaming my controls, that photos. So this is a collection that it results from that particular, um, you know, control in Power Up. So the next
So,
thing I can do if I want is then I can go ahead and insert a gallery. It could be a horizontal one. I'm not gonna be too picky right now.
so what you just did there in that on change is basically said, when I set the image down,
Correct.
collect that photo into a gallery or a collection. And now what you're doing is putting a gallery that will visualize the collection.
The different pictures that I took, because if you think about this from a business perspective, if I'm planning a showroom and the layout of a showroom, the one thing I probably want to do is capture pictures of how that object is gonna outlay in that showroom,
Totally.
and take it back to my marketing team and refine how I position that particular product with my marketing team.
Totally.
So, this is where this comes into play, because then I can basically tell the image that is, that where it's going to get the property from is this item, which is part of the collection, that image URI, and that in turn will display the gallery of pictures that I have. So if I go back and play this in my phone, obviously I have to save it here
Mm-hmm.
and republish it. We'll see how that looks. And again, I just overlaid the gallery, but you could put this on a separate screen if you wanted.
Yeah.
Nothing spectacular. I'm just gonna go back here, close this, and relaunch my connection to my phone. And then I'm gonna reopen my mixed reality app. And again, I'm gonna tap here to update this new version.
Yep.
And I'm gonna paste the same URL again. No, that's not what I want. I'm just gonna do here and paste. And if you see now, this loads the action. If I go back to view in MR, what it's gonna do then is it's gonna load the viewer. And I'm just gonna tap here. This is my desk. So I'm just gonna put it somewhere here on my desk, or actually let me just do this. Actually reset this and re-tap somewhere here. Come on, where is it? There we go. And I'm gonna capture this picture. So if I go back now, you will see that that picture was actually captured in that particular space. Now, this is actually new with this control. The private preview did not have that capability. So that's something else that, will get you to start using the newer version of the controls.
It's amazing how quickly they're adding new features and new capabilities to the features, man. Like we did our hackathon presentation, 2 weeks ago, and had none of this, only half of this.
Yep.
It's pretty amazing how far they've come in a couple of weeks.
So think about what we can do with this now. Say we have a gallery of 5, 6 pictures. You asked me about Power Automate. You can then actually have a button here that calls a flow, and that flow can take those pictures and send it to the marketing team, put it up on SharePoint or wherever they access that information, maybe even Dynamics 365, so they can take actions and cost out that particular space and how it's going to work with the items they're gonna put in that space. So, those are things that you can think of as a business setting on how this would work.
Wow. Okay. So I'm blown away, Mariano. I think that everyone's going to be blown away when they see how simple it is. I mean, you literally dragged 3 controls onto the screen. You typed 10 words with some dots to connect them. I mean, that was incredible. And I mean, like I said, seeing that professional level experience that I've seen at IKEA and Amazon now at the hands of the business user, at democratized to everybody. I'm amazed.
Yeah, me too, John. And let me tell you something. We have a couple more mixed reality controls to cover, but I am gonna entice you to invite me back and cover those too.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave it at this point, and
Okay.
I know you're itching to get the other ones shown. So let's put it this way: we will go ahead and come back to a second or third introduction of those other controls. And
Okay.
it was a blast to be here with you. I
Oh.
know this is actually super cool. So I really want to get back on your show for the rest of the videos.
Yo, all right, you heard it here. To be continued. Mariano, it's a blast to have you, man. I think people are going to go crazy about this like they did about the UI flow intro as well. So thank you for coming and sharing your expertise with us. It's fantastic, my friend.
Thank you, John. My pleasure.
Awesome. Okay, so for you guys, some actions. Go down in the description, check out all Mariano's stuff, his YouTube channel, his Twitter. He's got tons of goodness. He started his own YouTube where he's doing stuff like this and way more advanced. So if you want more meat, go get into his channel. And lastly, go ahead and check out our hackathon entry. We actually used this technology to try and help hospitals and medical centers set up pop-up medical and hospital places in parks and public spaces in short order. And so you'll get to see this technology shown off in a great polished fashion. And so definitely check that out as well. Mariano, thanks again, my friend. To all you guys, thank you for coming and hanging with us week after week. Click like, click subscribe, click that bell, and we'll see you next week. Later.